Here, back in the fantasy bar, talking some week 8 in the NFL. 6 of my favorite plays for you on FanDuel and DraftKings. And we've got some of my favorite values, some guys I think are going to be low owned we can take advantage of, some correlations we can look at in a few games, and a beast of the night I think goes overlooked this week in a great spot. Who we talking about? Only one way to find out. It's time to belly up to the fantasy bar. Welcome in, guys. Week 8 edition Beers Daily Fantasy 6-pack. 6 of my favorite plays for you ready on FanDuel and DraftKings main slates. Thank you, as always, for stopping by the Fantasy Bar and checking out today's video. Before we get to those plays, do me a favor and hit that tip jar, and that is that thumbs up button. Very important here to continue to bring you these free videos. Thank you so much for that. Subscribe, hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of the content. All right, week 7, not going to sugarcoat it. It was ugly. We'll take a quick look back here at the plays. Jordan Mason was okay, found the end zone, was hoping for a little bit more. Matthew Golden will have to wait for that breakout game. The Jets and Mason Taylor, an absolute disaster. Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt, disappointed as well in a good spot against Dallas. George Pickens was okay again, expected a much bigger day there, and Dak Prescott did just fine as our beast of the week. So all in all, absolutely awful week. It killed me. Turn the page here on week 7. Before we get into it, there's a couple plays I think are great plays that are pretty obvious. Jonathan Taylor against the Titans, Bijan Robinson against the Dolphins. 2 fantastic running back plays. Not going to spend any time here. Want to give you some different looks. Those guys, obviously, phenomenal plays. So let's dive in here at the running back position with another guy I really like this week, in Derrick Henry of the Ravens. So sounded like Lamar Jackson going to be back here. Limited practice over the last couple days, Wednesday and Thursday here. Ravens, 28-point team total here at home against the Chicago Bears. So I think this offense going to be back at full strength here. This team is 1-5. Backs are against the wall. We're not going to go out and say this is a must win, but they need to get some wins on the board sooner rather than later. So I think we're going to see a lot of Derrick Henry. And he was getting the ball a ton last week. I think we're going to see a similar story here for Derrick Henry and this offense. Lamar actually helps. Lamar going to be pretty popular if he is available this week. And I am fine with that play with the passing game as well, or even pairing him here with Derrick Henry, but it may lower some of the Derrick Henry ownership here. We have those 2 running back plays. We talked about some other guys that are going to draw some ownership here. This is the lowest Derrick Henry price on DraftKings that we have gotten all season long, and you can go back quite some time till you see a price at $6K on Derrick Henry. Good spot here against the Bears. 5th most rushing yards allowed per game to the running back position. Bottom 10 in fantasy points allowed as well, and Henry just performs way better as a home favorite. Derrick Henry, good spot this week against the Chicago Bears. All right, let's get some correlation on the other side with wide receiver Rome Odunze. So this Bears offense has really established the run here over the last couple weeks. I don't know if they're going to be able to do that here with success. If Baltimore's going to be pouring points on the board, and that team total certainly indicates that they will, it may force Chicago to get a little bit more heavy through the air against this Baltimore defense. And Odunze coming off a couple rough games here, but what a favorable environment. We just talked about it. The Ravens are putting points on the board. The Bears are going to have to throw the ball a lot. 6-point underdogs in this game. Huge total here as well at 49.5. Baltimore's already given up 10 receiving touchdowns to the wide receiver position and the 2nd most fantasy points in all of football to this position. I think it's a big bounce back spot here for this Bears passing game and Rome Odunze. All right, to the tight end position next. I'm going to give you a guy that had 0 points last week. Yes, we are rolling with George Kittle of the 49ers. So Kittle's certainly going to have some ownership here. Not going to be 1-2% on, but I think he'd be a lot more popular if he didn't put up a 0 last week. And I think the Niners are going to be smart to get this guy involved. Still a ton of injuries in that pass-catching group. Between Ricky Pearsall, Juwan Jennings, there's a lot of opportunity here for George Kittle, so I really expect a big bounce back and him to see a significant amount of targets in this game. Houston, numbers look good against tight ends, but you look at who they faced, it's pretty much a no-name list of tight ends. Not any notable names in there, so nobody to the level and talent of George Kittle here. I think a bounce back is squarely in play here, and ownership not as high as it should be. George Kittle, my favorite tight end for week 8. All right, let's get you more correlation and stay in that game on the other side with my favorite value play at wide receiver in Jalen Noel. Now, I don't know who's more banged up here, the Niners or the Texans pass catching group. You got Nico Collins in concussion protocol. It's also a short week. It's going to be very difficult for him to clear that in time to play in this game. Christian Kirk, as of this recording, has not practiced yet, so it's a big opportunity for these Houston Texans wide receivers, Jaden Higgins, Hutchinson, and my favorite, Jalen Noel, really took a big step last week and looked like the most talented guy out of the group. 7 targets in that game, turned that into 77 receiving yards, and made some big plays down the field as well. 3 receptions of over 20 yards, and this Texans offense is starving for guys that can make big plays. They utilized him all over the field as well, so I think he's way too cheap for this role. Could be the top pass catcher here in a game. I think there'll be some scoring. Jalen Noel, fantastic value on both DraftKings and FanDuel. All right, let's go to the quarterback position next. Lots of options here, but I'm going to give you a guy that's very low owned, and I don't understand why, and that is Jackson Dart of the Giants. So not sure what else Jackson Dart needs to do to show people he is legit. Has gotten better every single game out, yet we are seeing ownership potentially 1 or 2% owned here on Jackson Dart. Yes, there are some great options at the quarterback position here, but this kid has gone over 18 DraftKings points in every single game. The last 2 games against some pretty good defenses. I know they haven't been as good as we might have thought going into the year, but Denver and Philly, 2 tough defenses, 23 and 29 DraftKings points in those 2 games. Giants, 7.5-point underdogs, likely playing from behind in this game. You got cheap partners that you can stack them with, guys like Wan'Dale Robinson, the tight ends. We'll see who else is available at wide receiver, and he gives you a nice upside with his legs. 50 or more rushing yards now for Jackson Dart in 3 of his last 4 games. Double-digit rushing attempts against his Philadelphia defense just 2 weeks ago. Don't know why. The ownership isn't there, but happy to take advantage here this week with Jackson Dart. All right, it's time. Take a look at my favorite play for week 8. Before we do that, let's continue our Beast of the Week contest and give away another free month of RotoGrinders Premium. All you need to do, hit that thumbs up button, head to the comment section, and guess fantasy points for my Beast of the Week on DraftKings. Your guess is the closest to their output. Simple as that. You're going to walk away with a free month of RotoGrinders Premium. All right, let's wrap up this week's video with my favorite play for week 8. You know, math, Beast of the Week. All right, Beast time. We'll keep the theme here with our correlations. Go to the other side of that Giants and Eagles game with running back Saquon Barkley, this week's Beast of the Week. Now, as I mentioned, could have been easy to come in here and give you Bijan Robinson, give you Jonathan Taylor. I wanted to give you some looks outside of those 2 guys, and I think this is the week for Saquon Barkley. And we may very well be banging our heads against the wall again next week, but I think combined with all those other running back plays, the slow start to the season here for Saquon Barkley, he will have some ownership. Again, not as high as I think it should be in this spot. Philadelphia, we saw, finally got that passing game unlocked in that game against Minnesota. 7.5-point home favorites here. I think we start to see the rushing attack really get going here against this Giants defense. Over 100 rushing yards allowed in 5 of 7 games this season. 9th most rushing yards allowed to the running back position on the season. And we know Saquon Barkley has not lost it. Still a ton of talent. Still a guy that can put 30, 40 DraftKings points on the board. I think he smashes this week. Saquon Barkley, easily my favorite play on the board in this week's Beast of the Week. All right, guys, that'll do it for our Week 8 six-pack. As always, any comments, questions, feedback, hit me up in that comment section here on YouTube or over on Twitter at Beermakersfan. Get your guess in. How many points does Saquon Barkley put up on DraftKings? Gonna go big, gonna go small, gonna go in the middle, whatever you want to do. If your guess is the closest, you're gonna win a free month of RotoGrinders Premium simply for watching this week's video. For RotoGrinders.com, I am Beer saying salut, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Best of luck here in Week 8, and we'll catch you next time.
Thanks for checking out our videos. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel for more DraftKings, FanDuel, and other DFS content. And you can check out our daily live show schedule on RotoGrinders.com/videos.